I was staring at a cake. Chocolate, squat and lopsided, clearly underbaked in a field oven. No silly candles, but someone had written "Hometown" and "6 months and kicking" on its face with rehydrated vanilla frosting. I pressed my temples. 2 hours ago, Noah had returned to the village with Sarah and the 4 other silo survivors. Their news hit like a gut punch. Everyone was stumbling around in shock, numb from the rising body count and being cut off from our refuge and source of supplies. For the first time since exiting the program, we were truly on our own. And yet someone had thought it'd be a good idea to bake a cake. I grunted in disbelief. We couldn't guess the correct date, or even what month it was. There'd been no holidays or birthday parties since emerging from our regeneration pods. In a sense, we all had the same birthday, making us a giant group of infants. Or we were all so old as to defy comprehension. Either way, this was ridiculous. 9 people were dead. Idiots. I hustled the cake out of the community lodge and found the closest occupied structure. Cash, Dakota, Layton, and Ferris were playing No Limit Hold'em in the mess tent, a green nylon and fiberglass structure designed to shelter troops in the field. "Here," I said, placing the dessert on their table. "You 4 can eat this whole thing without sharing if you promise to never admit it existed." Quick nods of agreement as they pounced. I was already heading back outside. I'd called for an official meeting. Only elected leaders at first, though we'd have a full assembly afterward to share our recommendations with the class. We couldn't wait for someone to come all the way from the outpost, located off-island and across the channel, but radio calls had been made up to Ridgeline and down to the caves. It would take a while for everyone to get to hometown. Everyone. A sigh escaped as I re-entered the lodge, the largest building in the village. 4 months ago, we'd been 64 kids strong and doing okay in our new environment. The whole class had lived in hometown or down in the silo within easy reach. Things had been going as smoothly as could be hoped. Then the accident occurred. Carl and his scouting team died, and the group splintered. It was the beginning of the end. Aftershocks were still being felt today. The next morning, Toby and his goons had disappeared, and the count was down to 54. Nobody missed them. Toby had made no effort to fit in since exiting the program, and the Nolan twins, Josh, Tucker, and Cole had been our only real troublemakers. But where the heck had they gone? Noah was certain they were no longer living on Fire Lake Island. That was bad enough. But then even those 54 broke apart. Sam refused to live in hometown after his cousin's death, probably because of me, though he grudgingly agreed to stay a part of the wider community. He took 7 friends and built Ridgeline Camp in the Western Heights, as far from hometown as you could get. The next day, Ethan, Charlie, and Spencer hauled a portable shelter down to a cave system we'd discovered close to the water, and never came back. Exasperated, I put them in charge of our boats to maintain a connection. The worst blow came the following week. Corbin announced he intended to establish a farming colony away from the island completely. He promised to build a permanent settlement on the only other habitable landmass we'd discovered, a forested peninsula lurking a full day south across the sea. 9 more people, gone. The last defection hurt most. Tack sucker-punched me by joining Corbin's team. I wasn't over it. Still, yesterday, the number of classmates under my direct authority in hometown had been 45, if I counted Sarah's group in the silo. Now it was 36. I could barely wrap my head around the loss. Hometown, 6 months and kicking. Half the class gone. 13 dead. Only 20 people were still rostered in the village at the moment, where I was supposed to be in charge. I'd let class unity slip through my fingers. If Noah hadn't constantly traveled from one camp to another, keeping everyone in touch by more than just radio, we'd have fallen apart completely. As it was, things were balanced on a knife's edge.